Hello, I'm Janessa. Welcome to my channel. I'm a health coach, and today we are going to be doing a review or reaction of a video from a fitness influencer named Rene. We are going to look at her What I Eat in a Day video, and I'm going to provide you simply my opinion as a health coach on what I see. Since this is just my opinion, of course you get to form your own. You may disagree with me. I create this content because, to be honest, years ago I was really into the What I Eat in a Day videos, and now that I'm a health coach, I think that these videos can be helpful. I also think that sometimes it's good to remind ourselves that nutrition and fitness and movement and our overall health is a very, very individual process. So what works for one person isn't necessarily going to work for you or for me. Without further ado, let's dive into Rene's video, What I Eat in a Day on Bodybuilding Prep. This video is about 15 minutes long. I may fast forward through some parts of it that aren't as relevant. The other thing I want to say is, in addition to being a health coach, I also have done my own bodybuilding prep and competition as well. So my opinion is drawing from my experience as a health coach, various certifications with personal training, nutrition, yoga, but also my own experience as an athlete and as someone who's gone through a pretty intense fat loss phase in preparation for a bodybuilding competition. So let's press play and get into it.
We're going to be doing a full day of eating together. So delicious. I am starving. Breakfast is served. I love eating my bagels. Ooh, that's gonna be spicy, I already know it. I'm gonna take you through every meal that I'm eating, and it's gonna be delicious.
Okay, we'll fast forward through her intro, but I first just want to say I really appreciate Rene's energy. She was an influencer that I actually watched a lot when I was moving through my bodybuilding competition prep a few years ago, and I'm with her. Like, I get really excited to eat bagels. Just putting it out there. It is one of my favorite foods, and I do appreciate that overall from the content that I've seen from her over the years. She really does try to bring an uplifting energy to how she talks about her process and her experience. Now let's fast forward a little bit and get into the actual video.
I'm wearing all pink, head to toe. Pink jacket, pink top, pink bottoms, pink slippers. I look like a Pepto-Bismol. We are going to be doing a full day of eating together. Today is my high carb day, and we are training legs. My high carb day falls on a Saturday, which is always the best day. I'm gonna take you through every meal that I'm eating, and it's gonna be delicious.
Okay, first of all, high carb days versus low carb days. This is often part of a technique called carb cycling, and people can approach it differently. Some people do it every other day, where there's a high carb day, a low carb day. Some people do it during stretches of time, maybe for a few days they do low carb, and then they have a higher carb day for 1 or 2 days. The structure itself can be very customized to that person's goals and what they want to do. It's also common to try to do higher carb days on workout or intense training days like Julia's talking about here. This is one of those decisions that I think is very, very individual. Just because Rene has high carb days on training days, that doesn't mean it's going to be the best option for you or for me. Some people do better and feel better when they actually keep a consistent level of caloric intake and carb intake over the course of an entire week. So you have to experiment and play around for yourself, but just know that if you feel great having higher carb days on your training days, awesome, keep doing that. Some people also do really well if they have a higher carb day the day before a pretty intense training session, because by that point their body's actually been able to digest and process those carbs and store them as glycogen. But if you struggle to get through those low carb days, maybe a more consistent approach is better for you. That'll be completely up to you and your personal experience.
Okay, I'm not gonna lie, like, getting in these meals on this high carb day is actually kind of hard for me. It's a great problem to have. So for my carb source, because I want to have a good amount of carbs before I go to my training session, so I try to have at least 2 meals before I go train on Saturday, because Saturdays I usually train earlier than normal. So to help me reach that carb goal, I have the Mega Fit Meals Greek honey pancakes. They're so delicious, but also I need to have some more protein too. So we're gonna have egg whites, 1 whole egg. I still have some berries on the side and stuff like that. So let's get some of these eggies and veggies, a little stir fried in the pan before I put them in.
Okay, then she does the cooking montage. There were a couple things I wanted to comment on there. First, she mentioned getting in 2 meals before her training session. This is another variable that you can play with. Some people swear that they perform best when they're fasted in the morning. Other people need 1 meal. And others, like Julia Rene is saying in this video, actually do best with a couple meals in. And it may depend on the type of training you're doing. Are you doing more of a cardiovascular training session? Are you doing more strength training? Or perhaps metabolic conditioning, something that incorporates a little bit of both. Just speaking for myself and just my experience, this could be completely different for you. When I was in bodybuilding prep, I needed 2 meals in before I could go train really hard. And I learned that through my own experimentation and trying to do things fasted. That did not go well. And even 1 meal didn't feel like it was enough. But I remember back in my 20s, which I'm no longer in my 20s, but quite a few years ago when I was training and competing in Olympic weightlifting, I did best with 1 meal and having a training session about mid-morning. So just to illustrate that it may depend on the kind of workout. And this is where I think cultivating that value of flexibility and responsiveness to our bodies, taking in that biofeedback that we're receiving, processing it, integrating it, and understanding that our needs may shift over time. So how can we adapt to that? Just like we're adapting in our strength training and in our exercise, how can we adapt our nutritional approaches and other things with health so we can line up a little bit better with our specific goals and outcomes that we're seeking? I think the next bit is just her cooking montage. So let's get to, okay, so this is the actual meal. So we're seeing egg whites. She had at least 1 egg. I think she might've had a couple, but at least 1 egg, avocado, berries, pancakes. And she even got in some veggies there. I remember her pulling those out of the fridge. So that's great too. Let's see what she says.
It's with 1 whole egg,
Okay,
2
1
ounces of avocado. I put some chaluta on it. And then we got the Greek honey pancakes. I love Saturday because I get pancake day.
Okay, I'm laughing because again, when I trained and competed in Olympic weightlifting, Saturdays were also my favorite day because that was the day that I got to lift really heavy. It was the one day that my coach said I could try to max out. And in Olympic weightlifting, if you're not familiar with that sport, like even just 1 kilogram or 1 pound extra on the bar is a PR, a personal record. So it was always exciting to see if I could just nudge it up a little bit week over week. And I was also really excited because that was my waffle day. So it wasn't pancakes like Julia Rene, but it was my waffle day. I used Kodiak cakes, made waffles, drizzled a little bit of peanut butter on top, and had like a few raspberries. And that was my pre-training meal. And it was amazing. I just had to laugh because I was like, I get you. I get you, Julia.
These pancakes are so good.
I love that she's talking about how much she enjoys her food too, because this is a highly debated topic. Some people are going to say food is just fuel. You should only think about how it supports your performance. And then there are going to be other people who say that you should really enjoy your food. This comes back to, again, what are your values? What are your goals? What are you hoping to get out of your relationship with food? And this can change depending on where we are in our lives and what's most important. Even now, even though I'm not training specifically for something, there are some days where I approach food and I think, okay, I just need to get it in because I need a meal, and that meal is going to be important because of what I'm doing later in the day. So let me just throw something together that's going to give me sustenance, that's going to give me nutrients and the calories I need. And then I have moments like Julia here where I'm just so excited and so in love with what I'm eating in that moment. And maybe you don't have that relationship with food. There really is no right or wrong here. Again, it's so individual.
Okay guys, I will see you for my pre-workout meal. So I'm getting ready to, I'm doing my makeup because I'm going to train with Alexa again today.
Okay, the next part of the video, I think she's just talking about her makeup. Let's see. We'll watch some of this because she does bring up some interesting things.
So kind, and she's so knowledgeable.
Just so you know, I know we skipped over that bit, but she's talking about the woman she's going to go train with, her training partner that she's working with right now.
But I'm getting ready to train with her, and it's just so funny because she texts me and she's like, hey, can we do 12:30 instead of 12? I still need to make sure that I get my second meal in. And it's just, I kind of like giggled and had like this moment of gratitude because first of all, I was like, no, I totally get it, because I was telling you guys about that, like I'm trying to get enough food in to go and have this workout, and it just reminded me, like there was a time where I didn't have friends that understood or supported my lifestyle, you know, because when you become friends with someone or you're in a relationship with someone and then you start to change and grow within that relationship or friendship, sometimes there's mixed feelings about it.
I really appreciate her bringing up this point because this is so true. I personally don't think that we can look at our relationship with food, our relationship with movement in isolation. Something that I learned from a very wise therapist. He taught me that the foundation of relationship is food, touch, and movement. When we think about infants and how they bond and form secure attachments with their caregivers, so often we have those three pillars: food, touch, and movement, and how we're learning to be in relationship. We're being fed, we're being held, we're being rocked. And that's why our relationship with food and movement can go so deep for us. It does tie into some of those more primal instincts and needs. And it may seem like a small thing, like she's saying, which is she has a training partner that she really enjoys going to the gym with. And in addition to that, it sounds like they have similar values, which are reflected in how they make decisions about getting in a second meal before their training session, how they then communicate that to each other to say, hey, I need a little bit more time. That's how those values are being reflected as a part of that relationship and that friendship. And having that support is huge whenever we're on some sort of transformation journey with our health. It can be hard to feel isolated and go at it alone. I know that was one of the myths that I used to believe, oh, I have to do it all by myself. And don't get me wrong, like there is that argument, there is value in being able to stand on your own, hold your own with your own values, especially when you're operating in an environment or a culture whose values do not line up with yours. However that looks for you, whether it's just the different decisions that people make around exercise or health or food, it can be hard to stand out and choose something different. So when we do have those relationships where we can feel seen, we can feel heard, we can feel appreciated, even in the little micro moments like what Julia's describing, that makes such a big difference for us when it comes to the sustainability of the change process that we're moving through. We skipped the next bit just because she was talking about her hairstyle. I feel like there wasn't much I could offer there, so let's get into the pre-workout meal.
So I'm gonna do a tablespoon of my Skippy peanut butter. Wow, I only have one full bagel left and then a half one, but this is great because I need the full one. And I need some protein powder. I am almost out of my Buff Chick fudge brownie, and I'm so sad because I had a call with Buff Chick yesterday.
Okay, I want to really get into the supplement piece here, but I'm going to see what else she says about Buff Chick, but I definitely have some pretty strong opinions about dietary supplement companies. So stay tuned. We're going to dig into it.
Bagel in the air fryer. I don't have a toaster, I just use the air fryer.
Same.
But I love doing this bagel for pre-workout, especially on this high carb day, because like I was telling you guys, I love my high carb days so much, but it is sometimes hard to get all of my meals in because of the amount of carbs that I'm having compared to the other days where my calories are a little bit lower.
So again, this is one of those cons or disadvantages that might come up with cycling, whether it's calorie cycling, carb cycling, because you can carb cycle but keep your calories consistent. In my opinion, as a health coach, when we're thinking about sustainability and longevity, I would suggest just paying attention. Again, that's biofeedback. If you're having a hard time getting in your meals, getting in all of that food, maybe there's a better way of approaching it. Now for her, it's different. She's in a very specific athletic process. She has a goal. She's in prep. So I understand that for her, she's in a different context. I'm saying when we watch these videos, sometimes it can be helpful to remind ourselves that we don't have to follow something because it's what the influencer is saying, that experience we have, that specific biofeedback we're getting through our own experience is the most valuable information that we can take in.
So eating like a giant bowl of oats that is about like, equal to 50 grams of carbs, like it's gonna sit too heavy. So I like to have something like a bagel that is easier, quicker to eat. It's quicker digesting. I don't feel very like bloated. I can also have it pretty close to my workout time.
Let's unpack this a little bit more because this is a really important point too. Digestibility is an important factor. Generally speaking, whole foods are going to support more satiety because they have a lower calorie density, especially foods like vegetables. So you're able to get more bulk, more volume for lower calories. And when we consider things like fiber content too, whole food fiber content, it can help fill us up more and it can also take a little bit more time to digest. That's very different than picking up like a Rice Krispie treat. That's probably going to go through my system a lot quicker than if I were eating a big bowl of oats like she's saying. This is why during a weight loss phase, it can actually be very helpful to focus more on whole foods. Now, her goal here in this moment, she said, is to make sure that she has a really easily digestible meal so she's ready to go train. But if that weren't the case, if she wanted to feel fuller longer and her overall goal was weight loss, then sticking to more of those whole foods might actually be a bit more helpful. So once again, it depends on your goal and it depends on what works for you. You're gonna find as we go through these reaction or review videos that so often I'm gonna say it's individual, it depends. And that can really frustrate people because they're like, I get it, but I still just want the answer, Janessa. And I understand, I've been there. I've been in that spot where I just thought, please just give me the answer. Tell me how I need to eat. But that's not really coming from an empowered place. I think true empowerment with our health, with food, with fitness, it's doing our own research, building our own experiments, gathering that data and adjusting and adapting as we need over time. So let's keep going.
I like to have something that I can just easily drink again so that I don't go to the gym feeling overly stuffed, you know? This is my second to last scoop. We will savor it. I am not the biggest, I used to be not the biggest fan of protein powder. I didn't like the aftertaste or any of that. But once I started using Buff Chicks, basically any of their flavors, but especially the fudge brownie, I have been absolutely loving it.
Okay, I respect Julia. I respect the wonderful YouTube channel she's created, the positivity she brings to her content, and how she's helped a lot of people. I will say, in my opinion, and this is not specific to Julia, Rene, this is true for anyone who has a platform and they're receiving money for brand affiliate stuff, sponsorships, whatever that looks like, it is fundamentally going to change the nature of their relationship, I believe, with that product. So she is incentivized to tell you positive things about this product. We know how this works in fitness influencer culture. We're very aware with it, and yet we can still kind of get influenced and dragged into it because we like these people. We build trust with them. I've definitely done that where I've purchased supplements and other kinds of products like beauty or hair care products simply because I was influenced. And I even knew, sometimes we know. I knew in the moment, I'm getting influenced, but I still just really want to try it. I also think that to be empowered consumers of information, not just products, but also information, like these videos, like these What I Eat in a Day videos, we need to go in eyes wide open and just know that Julia's getting money in some way, shape, or form. Or it's not always financial. I shouldn't say that. I don't actually know if Julia's getting money. I don't know what the ins and outs of her contract is or her agreement with Buff Chick, but there is a value exchange at some level. And I have to say, I really, really respect influencers who are transparent about that. There are some out there who will even give you dollar amounts and say, hey, just so you know, I am an influencer. I'm a content creator. Here's my channel. It's really successful. I'm actually going to peel back the curtain. I'm going to let you see what all of my income streams are so you know who is influencing me through these relationships. Now, when it comes to Julia Rene, it does seem like she's being very authentic and genuine about her experience. She likes these products. She enjoys these products. And I have to say, good for her. She's built up a platform and a presence, and she's making the most of it. But as the consumers, we can put our awareness hats on and just know this value exchange she has with this company is part of why she's saying these things.
It goes down so smooth, it tastes delicious, and I love it.
Okay, this is the full pre-workout meal. We got the bagel, got the peanut butter. We'll skip over a little bit because she was just talking again how much she loves her bagel, which I appreciate. I also love bagels.
Okay, y'all, meal number 3 is going to be super boring. So I have my little side of veggies. I just do frozen vegetables because it's honestly so much easier, especially when I start prep.
I love that. Go with what is easy, go with what's convenient, go with what's sustainable. Frozen vegetables are just as fine as fresh vegetables. For me personally, I do try to keep some fresh vegetables in my refrigerator, but I always have frozen vegetables on hand because I never know when something's gonna pop up, my schedule changes, I have to very quickly make a meal, or maybe I'm coming home late from something, and it just makes it so much easier.
Because if I have to make as much vegetables as I'm usually eating when I'm on prep for a show, if I have to make that every week, shoot, it's just gonna take forever. So now I have some white rice.
It's interesting about the white rice because I know some people think that it's not good to have white rice, potentially because it's higher on the glycemic index. Really depends on how you digest things. And when you combine something like white rice with vegetables, which is also going to have a good fiber content, that's going to help slow down the digestion process. And that will also help too if you have some source of protein with that as well. So you don't have to shy away from white rice. Pay attention to how you respond, how your body responds, how quickly you seem to digest it. And it could be a totally fine food for you. I know it's used a lot in the bodybuilding community. I have consumed a huge amount of white rice. So I get it.
And one thing that I actually kind of missed from prep was my cod. You guys know that last season I was eating this basically for every meal. So when I'm on prep for a show, I'm gonna do 4 ounces of this cod, the Mega Fit Meals cod. It's delicious. So I like to have some options of like leaner proteins. Wow, that was like exactly 4 ounces. That's what I love about these little pieces, is that it's like a lot of them are exactly what I need. I like to have different options for my protein. So we'll have some leaner proteins such as like chicken breast, cod, shrimp, and then maybe like fattier proteins like salmon, beef, steak, things like that.
And obviously she's sharing all animal-based proteins. If you do eat animal proteins, I think it's great to have a variety as well, whatever is feasible for you to afford, to have on hand. But just know that also if you don't eat animal protein, it can be helpful too to think about different protein sources and having a variety. Variety and diversity is very helpful when it comes to nutritional profiles. And I get it. I mean, I've gone through phases where I basically ate just one specific kind of protein and it never really lasted. And it was helpful to switch things up and just get into that mindset of, okay, how can I cycle through different kinds of protein? Do I prep this specific protein on this day and maybe later in the week I have a different form of protein? There are many different strategies you can use.
So my lean protein that I chose for this week was gonna be cod. I also have some chicken just in case like I get bored of it, and then I can kind of swap it out. I am starving after that leg day. I was telling Alexa that every time that we train together, I am just, I'm usually like utterly exhausted because we push each other really hard, like even harder than we push like ourselves at the gym.
That is one benefit of having a training partner or a friend who can go with you. Also working with a coach or a trainer. So often we do push ourselves more when there's someone else with us, in a sense holding us accountable, who hopefully is also encouraging us. So I think it's great that Julie has found that in that friendship.
I'm gonna be making meal number 4.
Yeah.
I've got my hair wash. It's hair wash day. Okay, so I have some Brussels sprouts prepped and ready to go. And I am going to do them, I'm going to do them in the air fryer. But the thing about doing it in the air fryer is that you can't do as much as like if you baked it in a pan. So I just have my little oil spray.
I love Brussels sprouts. I actually just had Brussels sprouts for lunch today before recording this video. I'm a huge, huge fan. And it looks like she has bigger chunks of Brussels sprouts, which you can definitely do. You can also get the shaved Brussels sprouts already prepped from the grocery store, or just get the whole Brussels sprouts and cut them up smaller. That'll help reduce the cooking time. That, you know, I could do in a saucepan if I need to. I also love to roast them in the oven, or I'll do an air fryer preparation like she's talking about here. I will say I really want to give Julia props for incorporating vegetables throughout the day. This is a bit of a stereotype, but I'll say that in general, in the bodybuilding community, that's not always a guarantee, but for our gut health and our overall health, getting a variety of vegetables is going to help with not only our macronutrient needs, but also our micronutrient needs. I personally am a huge vegetable and plant eater, so I would probably be eating almost double the vegetables she's eating. But from what I can see, she's doing a great job just incorporating those throughout the day.
Prep the rest of it from the oven so I can do it all at once, but I have some Tony's Cajun seasoning, and I really like this one. It's dash, garlic and herb. I love these because then I can just let's pop them in the air fryer.
I skipped ahead a little bit, so she has MegaFit Meals chicken breast and also more white rice.
I was thinking I was gonna make a perfect little, I kind of did. I nailed it. Okay, let's warm this up and then add the Brussels sprouts.
Let's see how much she puts on. Actually,
all right guys,
I have to say, in my opinion, that's looking like a really great portion of Brussels sprouts.
Number 4.
Number
Brussels
4.
sprouts are so much better in the air fryer because they just get super crispy. Chicken breast, it's still smoking. And then for the chicken, I've been really liking the GQ sweet and spicy barbecue. Okay, guys, for my last meal of the day,
Okay, so
I'm gonna have
5
something
meals
a little bit
total.
sweet. I know it's weird, but I'm gonna have oats for my dessert.
In my opinion, there are no strict rules around this is a breakfast food versus this is not a breakfast food. When we're in connection with our bodies, listening to what we need, if you want to have oats at night for your dessert, hey, it works.
Because I get pretty sniggity snacky at night. So I'm just doing 2/3 cups of quick oats. Pop it in the microwave for 1.5 minutes.
We have a little food cutting montage. We're almost to the end of the video.
Okay, we got a bowl of oats. I put some berries on it, and of course, my favorite Built Puff Bar. So delicious. But that's gonna be it for today's video, guys. I hope you enjoyed this full day of eating. And as always, I love you all so much. You're more powerful than you think.
Okay, that's it. So overall, what I eat in a day on bodybuilding prep, according to Julia Rene, I have to say it brought me back around my own prep and competition days, measuring everything out, even the food sources, like the carb sources, the protein sources. A lot of it was pretty similar to what I've done in the past. How I eat now is very different. And that's probably the biggest thing that I would call out with this What I Eat in a Day video. It specifically says on bodybuilding prep. That is a very specific goal and process that Julia is moving through. And it's important to keep that in mind. How she eats, what she eats, when she eats is not necessarily going to be the best for you. You may find that you need different types of carb sources. You may enjoy different vegetables. Maybe you don't eat animal protein at all. Perhaps supplements and artificial sweeteners included in them just don't sit well for you. Whatever it is, just know that the experience you're having is valid. You don't need to fit into any sort of cookie cutter mold. And I know that a lot of influencers who put out this content, they're not saying that you should eat the way that they're eating. They're providing it purely as a way to offer up some motivation, inspiration, maybe give you some ideas. And I don't think there's any harm in that. But the onus is on us as we consume that information to remind ourselves that our relationship with our bodies and the type of feedback and information we get from our bodies, that's really the gold standard. It doesn't matter what Julia Rene is eating or how she's working out. Thank you so much for being here. It is wonderful to connect with you. Drop a comment below. Let me know what stood out to you from this video. And let me know if there's anyone you want me to take a look at like Julia Rene, whether it's a What I Eat in a Day video or some other kind of health related video. I'd love to watch it and create a space for some helpful and positive discussion. That's it for now, and I look forward to connecting again soon.